Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're jumping right back into Python's exception handling. And look, this isn't just about writing cleaner, smarter code. It's about knowing exactly how to turn that code into top marks on your exams. So let's get right into it. Oh boy, does this look familiar. We've all been there, right? That giant wall of red text that just stops your program dead in its tracks. It is so frustrating. But what if I told you there's a way to actually control this chaos? To tell your program what to do when things go sideways, instead of it just, well, giving up? That's what we're going to master today. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about what an exception even is, why good code sometimes crashes. Then we'll get into Python's built-in safety net, the try-except block, and how we can take control ourselves using raise. Now, the real magic happens when we start decoding the marking scheme. I'm going to give you a peek inside the examiner's mind. And we'll finish up with a lightning round of exam questions to make sure all this stuff really sticks. Alright, first things first, before we can fight the enemy, we have to understand the enemy. So, what exactly is an exception, and why does it pop up even when our code looks totally perfect? Okay, so this is the absolute key thing to get. An exception is a runtime error. This isn't about you forgetting a colon or misspelling a variable. That's a syntax error. Your program won't even start with those. Now, an exception happens when your perfectly written code runs into a situation it just can't handle. Like you told it to divide by 0 or open a file that doesn't exist. The code is running along just fine and then, boom, it hits a wall it wasn't prepared for. And you know, Python actually has names for all these different kinds of walls. I'm sure you've seen some of these before. ZeroDivisionError, pretty self-explanatory. Name error is when you try to use a variable before you've actually created it. Type error, that's when you're trying to say, add a number and a word together. And value error is a little trickier. It's like the type of data is right, but the value just doesn't make sense in that context. Just being able to recognize these is half the battle. So, how do we stop our programs from just crashing and burning when they hit one of these walls? Well, we give them a safety net. And in Python, that safety net is called the try-except block. You know, the logic here is actually brilliantly simple. You take the risky bit of your code and you put it inside the try block. You're basically telling Python, hey, try to do this, but just be ready for things to go wrong. Then, in the except block, you write your backup plan. This is your emergency procedure, and it only runs if that try block fails. And then you've got the finally block. Think of this as the cleanup crew. The code in here runs no matter what, error or not, which is just perfect for things you have to do, like closing a file. And you can see the difference clear as day right here. On the left, we try simple division by 0. What happens? The whole program crashes. Game over. But on the right, we wrap that exact same code in a try-except block. We catch the error, print a nice message, and the program can just keep on running. Now that is robust programming. Okay, so handling errors when they happen is great. But what if you want to create your own error? Sometimes you need to be the one to sound the alarm when your code runs into something that, while not technically a Python error, it's just completely wrong for what your program is trying to do. And that's exactly where the raise statement comes in. It lets you, the programmer, trigger an exception on purpose. Let's say a user enters a negative number for their age. I mean, that's not a built-in Python error, but it's logically impossible, right? You can use raise to stop everything right there. The syntax couldn't be simpler. Just the word raise, the type of exception, and then a helpful message in quotes. You're basically telling Python, stop. One of my rules was just broken, and here's why. Check this out. Here's what it looks like in action. Somebody typed raise exception with that custom message. Oops, an exception has occurred. And look, Python immediately stopped and displayed that exact error message. This is how you enforce your own logic inside your code. It's super powerful. And there's also this handy little shortcut called assert. I like to think of it as a gatekeeper. It checks if a condition is true. If it is, great, your code continues on its merry way. But if that condition is false, assert immediately raises an assertion error and halts the program. It's just a really clean, quick way to make sure you're not working with bad data right from the get-go. Okay, let's get to the part I know you've been waiting for. We know how to write the code, but how do we turn that code into marks? It's time to pull back the curtain on the official CBSE marking schemes and see how your answers are actually graded. This is the good stuff. This right here is pure gold. Just look at this breakdown. You get marks for every single distinct part of the solution. You want a mark just for defining the function correctly. You get another mark for putting the right logic inside the try block, and another one for correctly catching the right error in the accept block. And check this out. Even partially correct code gets you half a mark. So what does that mean? It means you should always write down what you know, even if you can't get the whole thing working perfectly. Every little bit counts. And this might be the most important thing you see all day. This is a direct quote from an official marking scheme. It says, the answers are suggestive. What that means is there isn't just one single, perfect answer. If your code works and it solves the problem in a logical way, even if it looks different from the example answer, you should still get the marks. So please, be confident in your own solutions. Alright, time to put all this new knowledge to the test. I'm going to throw a few true or false questions at you, pulled directly from past papers. Ready? Let's do this. First up, do you absolutely positively have to name the exception you're trying to catch with an except clause? True or false? What do you think? And the answer is false. Now, it's definitely good practice to be specific about what you're catching, but you can use a bare except clause. It basically acts like a wild card and will catch any and every exception that might happen. Question number 2. Let's think about our cleanup crew. Does that finally block only run if everything goes perfectly smoothly in the try block? That is a definite false. The entire point of the finally block is that it's reliable. It always executes, no matter what. That's what makes it the perfect spot for code that absolutely has to run, like closing a file or network connection. Okay, final question for the lightning round. We just talked about these two, arrays and assert, both used to trigger exceptions. Yes, that is 100% true. Both of them give you, the programmer, the power to stop the program based on your own custom rules and conditions. They are your tools for enforcing your program's logic. So let's wrap this all up. What did we learn? We learned that exceptions are just errors that happen while a code is running. We learned that the try except block is our safety net to handle them gracefully, and that we can even take control with raise. But you know, the real secret weapon here is knowing how all of this maps back to the marking scheme. That is how you turn good code into a great score. So you now know how to handle Python's built-in exceptions, and even how to create your own alarms with raise. That gives you a ton of control. But what if you wanted to create your own brand new types of exceptions that are totally specific to your program? Well, that's the next level, and it opens up a whole new world of clean, professional, and powerful error handling. Something to think about for next time. Thanks so much for watching.